Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Madhav, Jayo Radha Madhav, Radha Madhav, Jayo Radha Madhav, Jayo Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe, Jayo Jayo Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman ji ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gajendra Vardhan ki Jai. Gajendra Udharan Leela ki Jai. Samaved Bhakta Vrind ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namamam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadaram Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I welcome you all for this final session on the prayers of Gajendra. For the last two sessions, in fact, from the last week, we had started discussing about this great narrative which comes in the chapter, in the canto number 8, chapter number 2, 3, and 4. This is the story about Indradyumna, who was a great king, who got a curse from Agastya and became Gajendra in the mountains of Trikuta. And once he entered into the waters in the gardens of Ritumat, into the water to satiate himself from the cool lotus fragrant waters. At that time, a crocodile caught his leg, and he was being dragged inside the waters for 1,000 years. And the battle of tug of war that ensued between the crocodile and the elephant continued for 1,000 years, had many witnesses, including his own relatives, friends, who tried many a time to protect him, but they could not protect Gajendra. This entire event was also being witnessed by the demigods who were assembled in their carriers on top of Gajendra in the sky. So while this plea was being made, Gajendra made these beautiful 29 prayers, 28 prayers. And in that, we have been talking about 13 prayers as of now. Today is the final session where we will try to cover all the rest of the prayers. We might not be able to go in depth into each of those prayers, but nevertheless, we will go a little faster, and then we will try to see what is that Gajendra saying and what is his real mood to actually bring out for all of us to learn at the same point of time and to understand what are these great snippets of education on the spiritual world, about the spiritual practices, and what should be our thought process while we approach the Supreme Lord. So I will share my screen now today because we are time bound in our presentation. So I have a presentation in front of me, and that presentation, I hope you all can see it. Let me just arrange this. Can you all see the presentation? Those who are, I hope all of you can see.
Yes, Prabhu, yes.
Yes, okay. Just let me uh, just make it the full screen. Just give me a second. Yes, now we are good to go. Okay, so if you actually see this, I'm just gonna. So we have discussed this entire prayers can be divided in this format. First, in the first lecture, we saw from verse 2 to verse 5, where Gajendra is talking about the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And from there, he is talking about who can realize this Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is also we have covered. And he talks about he is not able to realize because he is just an animal. And he's showing his humility there. And he says, those who are very self realized can understand the Supreme Lord. And then he talks about where the Supreme Lord will appear, what will he do, and what are his different forms like Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, etc. And at the same time, we spoke about the parallel pastime of how these prayers are reaching Vaikunta. And right now, Narayana is already sitting on top of Garuda, already listening to these prayers on his way to reach Gajendra. So while Narayan is going to make that entire travel in a split of a second, because he did not take even, he took less than a microsecond to reach from Vaikunta to the place of Ritumat Gardens in Trikuta Mountain to protect Gajendra. But nevertheless, in that less than microsecond, Gajendra also continues his prayers. He doesn't stop those. So today, what we will see is what you are seeing on the red lines. Today, we will see the qualities, obstacles, impetus, summary description, and finally the prayers of shelter. So you might feel there are a lot of verses here. How will we cover? Do not worry. That tension should be mine. Your tension should be only to give the 2 years. And I promise you, we will not go more than 5 minutes extra than the 1 hour. So let us go ahead. Let's first talk about the first verse, which is the verse number 13. So I will have the verse right now in my, I will not be reciting the verse, but nevertheless, it will be nice that if we recite. So just give me a second. So this is verse number 13 of Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, chapter number 3. So we will recite the verse. The meaning is on top here, and then we will talk about all the things that our Gajendra is trying to say. So let us start. Okay, here we go. क्षेत्रज्ञाय नमस्तुभ्यं सर्वाध्यक्षाय साक्षिणे पुरुषात्ममूलाय मूलप्रकृताय नमः. This is the verse number 13, where he is beginning to describe the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So from verse number 13 to verse number 17, he is going to describe about various different qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What are the qualities he is going to describe about? First, he is going to say how the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Father. He is the Aham Bija Param Pita. He is the seed-giving Father for the entire cosmic manifestation. He is going to speak about that. So let us see the first one where he is describing him as a Supreme Father. What does he say? Kshetrajnaya Namastubhyam. He says, I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are the Super Soul, the superintendent of everything, and the witness of all that occurs. So, what is he saying? He is saying in the first letter word, let us keep all these prayers aside for a second. He is saying, you are the super soul, you are sitting in my heart. So, if you are sitting in my heart, you know everything. What is that called as? Kshetrajnaya. Kshetrajnaya means you are the supreme proprietor. Who is called as a proprietor? A proprietor is the one who owns something. Just like we are all staying in a house, and that house belongs to a owner or a landlord. Sometimes we are the owner of our house, so we would know what is happening inside the house, isn't it? Similarly, if we are a tenant and there is a owner, the owner is aware of what is happening in the house. Similarly, here Gajendra is saying, my body is the Kshetra, and who is sitting inside? You are the person who is sitting inside as the super soul, and hence you are the superintendent of everything. So if you are sitting inside my body, you know my leg is in trouble, you know that I am being dragged inside, you know that my body is going to go into titter tatter, and I am going to meet death by the jaws of this crocodile. So won't you save me? At the same time, he doesn't say you are just aware of it. He says something more. He says you are the supreme person, the origin of material nature and of the total material energy. Now, why should a person suddenly talk about his origin and his material energy and creation? What Gajendra is saying is, first of all, you know what is happening. Apart from knowing what is happening, everything what is happening works under your supervision. So there can be no event which cannot happen which is not under your supervision. For example, when he says you are the supreme proprietor, we all know in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that you should understand that I am the person who is living in all the bodies. He says that in Bhagavad Gita 13.3. And then he also says the Lord is Sarvadhyaksha. That means everything is running as per his supervision. And where does the Lord say that in Bhagavad Gita? Maya Dhyakshena Prakriti Surate Chacharacha. He says that everything, this Prakriti, this material nature, is running as per my direction, and whatever is all moving, unmoving, both are being taken under the direction or under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. So he is saying, you know the supervision, and you are the source of everything. If there is material distress, if there is actually going through troubles, you know about those troubles, you know about the solution as well. So here he is saying, you are aware, you have the control, and you are seeing what is the trouble. So please come and save me, because why wouldn't a father save a son? And how is this relationship between a father, son, etc. is being made? This is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter 10th verse, that Krishna says that, O son of Kunti, all this birth in this material nature, and I am the seed giving father, Aham Bija Parampita. He says, I am the seed giving father. So if Krishna is the father, Prakriti or material nature is the mother, and who are the daughters and the sons? The Jivas, we living entities. And here, who is saying that I am the Jiva? Gajendra is saying. So Gajendra is actually taking the position of a Jiva who is stuck in the samsara sagara, which is the lake, and who is stuck with a lot of anarthas, which are the crocodile, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya, and he is praying out to the Supreme Lord, and he is holding a lotus and the prayers, which is the holy name, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and calling out to the Lord. So he is saying, you are the supreme person, you are the origin of material nature, and you are the total material energy. You are also the owner of the body. So hence you are staying inside me, and you are the owner of the body. Therefore, you are supremely complete. So you control the circumstances, you create the circumstances, you create the universe, you are sitting inside my body, you know the pains of my body, you are the owner, you are the controller. So why don't you actually come and save me? So some people ask that how is that the mother is nature or Prakriti is actually nature? And Bhagavad Gita says very clearly, all living entities are parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, but because they are struggling with different mentalities, they have been given different types of bodies. So here, some have got an animal body, some have got a tree body, some have got a human body, but they have all come from where? They have all come from Prakriti. So that is why here Gajendra is saying, you are the father. Hence, the first thing he says, qualities of the Lord, you are the supreme father, and I am born by the mother, which is the Prakriti and nature, but I am part and parcel of you. You know everything. Why won't you come and save me? Immediately, he goes to the next verse. He says, Sarvendriya Gunadrashtre Sarva Pratyaya Hetave Ashatachaya Yoktaya Sad Abhashayate Namaha. He says that Sarvendriya Gunadrashtre. Right? What does Sarvendriya Gunadastre means? It means you see everything which is pursued by my senses. You know, a best way to explain this example is, sometimes many people stay very close to our ISKCON temple. And when they stay close to a ISKCON temple, the devotees, they are very merciful. They will constantly come and say, Prabhuji, why don't you come for Sandhya Arti? If you do not see them in Mangalarti, they will say, Prabhuji, why don't you come for Mangalarti? Why don't you come for Guru Puja? Why don't you come for Vyas Puja? Why don't you take Prasadam with us? Why don't you do book distribution? Like this, they come and come and come and come and ask and tell devotees to come to temple, come to temple. We all have this practical experience before we naturally started going to the temple. Sometimes the neophyte devotee, he feels very perturbed. He feels very agitated that why these ISKCON devotees with the Shikha and Tilak is always coming and asking me, come here, come there, come there. I am going to change my residence. I am not going to come to the temple anymore. I am not going to live next to the temple. I am going to go away from the temple 100 kilometers away from here so that nobody will come and ask me. You know what is the funniest thing that happens when this planning is being made? Here, Gajendra is saying, Sarvendriya Gunadrastre. When I think like this, the first person, when I make a strategy like this, the first person to know this strategy is you, Krishna. Because even if I make the strategy, I have to go away from you. The first person who knows the strategy is Krishna. So when you say I am going to go away 100 kilometers away from you, 100 miles away from your temple, Krishna starts to plan because he has already known our plan. If it was hidden, if he does not know, he cannot plan, but he knows everything. Sarvendriya Gunadrashre, all the Indriyas, whatever they are doing, who knows? Krishna knows. So he's saying, the minute I decide like this, that 100 miles away I will go, Krishna starts to build a temple 100 miles away. And by the time I reach, I'll find that I am more closer to that temple than which I plan to go away from. If I was 3 kilometers away from the temple in this city, when I go 100 miles away, I will be just 1 kilometer away. Again, the same thing will continue. Why? Because Krishna always wants to protect us. Krishna always wants to take care of this. He is the supreme director. So here he says, Gajendra says, I was chasing objects of senses. I wanted this, the water, the golden lotus, the fragrant. I wanted to enjoy the water sports. But who was the one who actually directed me towards that? It is you. It is you who directed me towards that objective, because it's the will of providence. The crocodile came and caught me. So basically, he's saying you are the observer of all objectives of the senses. If the eye wants something, if the nose wants something, if the if the tongue wants something, all that is being driven by you. Because if you do not show the mercy, then he says, Sarva Pratayava Hetave. If I have a doubt on these senses, I am again dependent upon you, Krishna, because you are the solution to all doubts. How? Just like when you go outside your house and you see a nice mud pot, and when you see a nice mud pot, you know that there might be a creator. Why? Because the mud pot will not come automatically. So if you have a doubt, how did this mud pot come? How nice shape it has? Then immediately you will get to know that there is somebody who is created this mud pot behind it. Similarly, he is saying, this whole material world, when I see, I know somebody should have created it. And thus he says, this material world is just like a shadow which is resembling you. And indeed, one accepts this material world as real because it comes as a glimpse of your existence. So, in other words, what Gajendra is saying is, I as a jiva always have senses, and when the senses are given to me, the first thing I do is I choose the wrong path. I don't choose the right path. If somebody says go to Krishna, I will not go to Krishna because my senses are very strong. At that time, life after life, you come and remind us, look, Haridas, this is not the good path. Walk on the right path. You come again and again and you remind me. Maybe in one of the lifetime, I get your message. Like in this lifetime, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message, Guru's mercy, we have caught it and we start walking. But unfortunately, sometimes we don't complete it and we die. And when we die, we forget everything of the past. What happened? He is thinking about his Indradyumna life. He forgot everything of the past, but he says, you are very merciful, Krishna. You remind him about his past in the next life, and again you probe him. Why don't you come towards me? Why don't you come towards me? When we go for sense enjoyment, he directs our senses back to Krishna because he remembers our past life. He remembers what happened. Like he told Arjuna, I remember all your past. I remember all your future. You cannot remember, but I do remember. So he's saying, you remember everything, and maybe because you remember, you are again probing me to pray to you. And again, this is all by will of providence, and this is all happening real. This all says that you want me back with you. So hence you are the original cause of everything, and though everything appears real. So you are the supreme father, you know everything, and you are the one directing these causes also. This he says in the verse number 14. He immediately goes further. He says, not only father, not only director, you are the cause of everything also. He says, Namo Namaste Akhila Karanaya. This is one of the most beautiful verses of Gajendra's prayer. He says, Namo Namaste Akhila Karanaya Nishkaranaya Adbhuta Karanaya Sarvaghamananaya Maharnavaya Namo Apavargaya Parayanaya. Look at the various different names he is saying, as if he is doing an offering in the deity worship in the altar. You know, Namo Namaste. He says, you are the cause of all causes. He is the supreme cause. He says, you are the Govinda Madhipurusham. Everything comes from you. Of course, in the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Janmadiyasya Yataha, all these creations, everything is coming from him. Yet, even though everything is coming from him, all these parts are complete whole, and whatever balance is there, that is also complete. Upanishad also says this as Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamaduchyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. He is saying, you are the cause of all causes. Though these causes are all you, you yourself do not have a cause. Adi Purusham. Adi means he is the first, right? And therefore, You are Adbhuta Karanaya. Adbhuta means wonderful. Isn't this very wonderful? Because even today, so many people ask, if God created everything, who created God? They are not able to understand this wonderful concept. And here Gajendra is saying, I understand, hence I am calling you as Adbhuta Karanaya. What a nice name. If somebody wants to be initiated, he can be initiated as Adbhuta Karanaya Das. Uh, so he is the servant of that master who has a very wonderful cause of all causes. Adbhuta Karanaya. Therefore, you are the wonderful cause of everything. And he says, hence I pay, Namo Namaste, I pay obeisances unto you. And who are the shelter of Vedic knowledge contained in the Shastras, like Pancharatras, Vedanta Sutra, which are your representation. Now, wait a second. Why is Gajendra talking about Vedas, Pancharatras, Vedanta Sutra? Did Gajendra anytime go to a Gurukul, sit with a Guru, open the Vedic text, and read all this? But in the prayers, he is saying all this. This is because he is saying that though though these people, I have seen these people, and they all take shelter unto you, and they are all the source of the parampara system, and all this is also coming from you. I actually do not know, I have not read any Vedas, I have not read any Pancharatras, but I know the conclusion of all of that. What is the conclusion? The conclusion is all the Pancharatras, Vedas, Vedanta Sutra give a conclusion that you alone can give liberation. At this time, all the demigods, they back away. They know that they cannot give liberation. And he says, all the people who read all this, they are the one who ask for liberation only from you. So I know the conclusion. I have not read all this because I am an elephant, but I know the conclusion that all the transcendentalists appear before you, and they consider you as the supreme cause, and they ask for your benediction. So since they ask for your benediction and they want to be liberated by you, hence I also pay my obeisances unto you. So many people ask, if he is, how is this possible that Purnamadaha Purnamidam, how is this possible? Everything comes, won't his energy come down? Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice example. For millions of years from the sun, we are getting heat and light, isn't it? Has the energy of the sun reduced? No, the energy of the sun is still the same. It is the same. It has not reduced at any point of time. Similarly, if the sun cannot, his energy cannot be reduced over millions of years, what to speak of the Supreme Lord who created the sun and the moon? So his energy will never reduce. And he is called as Parayanaya. Parayanaya means he is the one who is a shelter for all transcendentalists. So in this verse, Gaurang Prabhu explains a very nice concept. He says that there is a Sambandha and Abhideya. Sambandha is relationship. Relationship means he is first establishing the relationship, Adbhuta Karanaya. And then in the Abhideya, he is mentioning it as, he is giving it as Sarva Gamanaya Maharnavaya. So what does Sarva Gamanaya Maharnavaya mean? It says the great ocean of knowledge, or the great ocean where all the rivers of knowledge meet, and he is the source of parampara system. So once you know your relationship with Krishna, then you have to act on that relationship. For acting on that relationship, you need knowledge. So for that knowledge, who is the source of knowledge? Krishna is the source of knowledge. So in essence, in this verse, he is saying, you were the father, you are the director, but you are actually the cause of all causes, but you yourself do not have a cause. So we'll have learned that many a times from Brahma Samhita. It is the same instance that Srila Prabhupada also quotes on the purport. Let us go to the next verse, the 16th verse, which is very wonderful. And there is a little bit technical information here. Do not worry, it is very easy. It says, Gunarani Chanachid Usmapaya Tatshobha Visfurjitamanasya Naishkarmya Bhavena Vivarjita Gama Swayam Prakashaya Namaskaromi. He says, why, my lord, as the fire in the arani wood? Now, sometimes in Srimad Bhagavatam, we get such references. Many trees are there, many flowers are there. We have never heard about those. But here I have given you a sample of this arani wood. I do not know how many of you have seen this, but age old physicians, when they want to heat up some chemicals, they use this wood which is called arani wood. This arani wood, what happens if you see, it has many holes in it, but in these holes, when you use this pestle or this trigger, and you actually move it with both the cords, the wood will rub on this, on the other plank of wood which is at the bottom, and fire will emanate. And the fire actually is coming from the heat, latent heat, and the rubbing of these two woods, the friction that is being caused, this is coming from the wood. So it is actually covered. Actually the fire is there, but when you actually rub the both the woods together, the fire will emanate, but it is covered. Similarly, Gajendra is using this analogy to talk about the Lord. What is he saying? Just like the fire in the arani wood, everyone, all of us are covered by material modes of nature: sattva gun, rajogun, tamogun. We are all covered in the material modes of nature. But Krishna, you do not come under this material modes of nature. You are always transcendental. You are always beyond these modes of material nature. So, but he says your material modes of nature are very powerful. So, in the first verse, he says, just like the fire is there covered in the arani wood, you and your unlimited knowledge are covered by the modes of material nature. Your mind, however, is not attentive to the activities of material nature. Krishna does not come under the material nature. But those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge and are not subject to the regulative principles directed in the Vedic literatures, because such advanced souls are transcendental, you personally appear in their pure minds. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances to you. He says, because we are all under material modes of nature, the first thing we need to do is we need to accept Krishna and faithfully accept Krishna in our heart. That is the first level of transcendence that Gajendra is saying. And once we accept them in the heart, the next thing that we should do is we should take the lotus feet of Krishna very, very seriously in the heart, and we should chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So if we actually do this and we practice, just by doing this, but we have to practice, slowly, slowly, what will happen? All the sins in the heart will get eradicated. That is, all the anartha nivritti will happen. The greatest crocodiles which are there in the heart and catching our desires, they will all get cleansed. They will all get delivered. And at last, we will become advanced. And when we become advanced, we will be transcendental to some of the regulation of the Vedas. So here he is saying, you know all this, Krishna. You are the revealer of the knowledge. You appear in their pure minds at that time. So I have not read the Vedas. Gajendra is saying, I am an elephant. What to speak of the Vedas? I do not know about the Vedas, but I know you are sitting in my heart. Hridayeshu tishtati. And you yourself give this benediction of appearing in the minds of the pure devotees. So this is your quality. You are a father, you are a director, you are the supreme cause, you sit in the heart, and sometimes you appear in the pure minds of devotees and make them transcendental above the Vedic texts. So this is also one of your quality, says Gajendra. The final quality that he actually speaks about, again, these 4 or 5 verses where he talks about the quality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is of tremendous amount of depth. Though the time is short, we are just skipping through and skimming through these verses, but each one of them is laden with so much of truth that it is not only by reading, we have to internalize these understandings. Then finally, he comes to the mercy platform. He says, these are all qualities, but I cannot achieve you, Krishna. I cannot achieve you, Narayana. Why? Because I am an animal. He says, what is the 17th verse? He says, Madrik prapanna pashupasha vimokshanaaya muktaya bhuri karunnaya namo alayaya swabshena sarvattanu brahmanasi pratita pratyak trishe bhagavate brihate namaste. All the words in this sloka are par excellent, and we will see some words which will actually tie the heartstrings of Gajendra. First, he says that Pashupasha. He says that who is a Pashupasha? I am an animal, I cannot actually understand you, and I am an animal who has surrendered unto you. Now, in fact, if we actually see, we are all animals. Why are we are all animals? Because in the material world, everyone is an animal, says Shastras. Because of the bodily condition of life, we are everyone is attacked by the crocodile of material existence. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya, and the desire plane of this lake, we are acting on it. So while Gajendra is saying that I am an animal, it should apply to all of us who have been caught by the will of providence of the crocodile. So we are completely caught. But who can actually put a pasha, who can actually put a rope and control this animal and pull him out and liberate him from this difficulty? You, Krishna, because you are the only one who is free from contaminations of material nature. You are called as Muktaya. One of the name of the Lord is called as Muktaya. You are free from contaminations of material nature. Because you are free from contaminations of material nature, you will be able to free me. Because if you yourself are bound, how can you free me? Now, when I say this, let us go back couple of months to Kartik Mas. You all will remember Krishna was bound. And when Krishna was bound, he gave mukti, he gave liberation, or he rescued two people. Can anybody tell me? While Krishna was bound, he rescued two people who were bound. Who were they?
Nalakuvera Manigriva.
Yes, Nalakuvera and Manigriva. This is very unique only in Vrindavan, my dear devotees. Krishna is bound, but he is able to deliver those who are bound. That is only in Vrindavan. Look at the pastime outside Vrindavan in Vaikunta. Here Gajendra is saying, what is he saying? He is saying that Muktaya Bhuri Karunyaya Namo Avalyabhyaya Vimokshanaya. Because you are free, you can make us free. But this rule doesn't apply in Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan, there's this unique causes and creation. That is why 10th canto is so wonderful, because whatever we learn in the 9 cantos, everything gets flipped out in the 10th canto. The person who is unperturbed, the cause of all causes and everything, and when he sees a small stick in the hand of Mother Yashoda, he starts to run. So Vrindavan is a completely different dimension, and that is why Srila Prabhupada says we should go through this 9 first to understand and then slowly enter into the 10th canto. Nevertheless, let's look at from Gajendra Point's point of view. He says, Muktaya Vimokshanaya. You are not in contaminations of material nature. But then there is one more quality in you, Krishna, which is very wonderful. Oh Narayana, there is one quality in you which is wonderful. What is that? Bhuri Karunnaya. What does Bhuri Karunnaya means? First of all, you come to this material world and tell us, Haridas, please go back home, back to God. But what does Haridas say? No, no, I am not going to come now. I am not interested. I have so many properties to sell. I have so many things to buy. I have so many plans of mine. I have to eat more chappan bhogs. I am not going to come right now. I directly refuse. I do not come. This is the unique quality of the Chit. Chit means conscious living entities. There is this mobile phone. This mobile phone, if you take it from here and keep it here, he will never ask a question. Why did you take me from the right and keep me on the left? Because this is jad. This is what you call achit. It doesn't have the consciousness. It is matter. It will never ask this question. But a spiritual entity like us who is having consciousness will ask this question. So there is a communication. So the Lord really loves the communication between the conscious living entities. But with communication, there is one flip side of the story. we can also refuse the communication. Whereas this mobile will never refuse. If you throw it, if you put it, it will always listen to the communication. But whereas we have the liberty to refuse sometimes the Lord. So here he says, Bhuri Karunnaya, you come to us, you tell us, come back home, back to God it. But what do? We say we are not coming. And if when we say that, not one time, not two time, not three time, life after life, other person will get angry, right? He is saying you never get angry. You never get angry. Instead, what do? You keep on trying. What a kind of mercy this is. At the same time, you will get tired by trying again and again. No, he says another word. Namo alayaya. You are never inattentive. In our case, if we keep on trying one activity again and again, after 10 times you look at the person, he will be sitting lazily, he will not be inattentive, he will give less effort than what he gave at the first time. But the Lord is not like that. Every time he is giving, he is fully attentive. At the same time, he is never sitting twiddling his thumbs waiting for your liberation. He is trying 200% more than what we are trying for our liberation. Isn't this merciful? Namo Bhuri Karunaya, Namo Alayaya. And then he says, and let me also tell you one thing, Narayana. You are not attentive when somebody taps on your shoulder and says, I am offering prayers to you. Om Govindaya Namah, Om Narayana Namah, Om Madhavaya Namah. When a person says the prayer, you are not attentive. Irrespective of whether I say the prayer, I don't say the prayer, your position is of the protector. Your position is of the person who is supposed to liberate me. So if I am cognizant, not cognizant, you are always attentive, you are never idle, you are never lazy, you are very merciful. Even if I refuse, you don't get angry. Such is the position of the Supreme Lord. And hence, you are the possessor of ultimate opulence, and hence, everything originates from you. Hence, I pay my respectful obeisances. But there is a beauty in this sloka. The beauty is he is free, hence he makes us free. Muktaya means he is free. Vimokshanaya means he can make us free. Because he is free, he is Vimokshanaya. Bhuri Karunya, because he is always merciful, he doesn't take offenses and he is always attentive. Swamshena. Swamshena means that he always ensures that we are, he says in this verse that Swamshena, Swamshena says that he will always, by the partial feature of Paramatma, because he is sitting as Paramatma, he will Pratyak Drishe. He is an observer. Because he is sitting in the heart, you are always observing it. And finally, because you are the holder of all the opulence, you are so great, you are the cause of everything, you are Bhagavan, you are Bhagavate. So Muktaya, Vimokshanaya, Bhuri Karunaya, Alayaya, Swamshena, Pratyak Drishe, Brihate, Bhagavate, I pay my respectful obeisances unto you. Hence, he concludes the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is to say, you are the Supreme Father, you are the Director, you are the cause, you reveal yourself to all others, and hence, by this and only this, you actually are supremely merciful. But if you look at this purple arrow that I have drawn, our realization has to also go in this fashion. First, we have to accept Krishna as the Supreme Father. Then we understand whatever our senses are doing is as per His direction. And hence, He becomes the cause of every action. And when we understand that He is the cause, He reveals this transcendental knowledge to us. And not because we are capable, because He is merciful. So, with this entire sequence of this five, Gajendra has set the stage for every transcendentalist to follow in these footsteps. So, hence, today we also completed the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which was verse 13 to 17. Now, verse 18 to 21 will go in a breeze, and the rest will go in a breeze. So, we have reached the perfect half point of the prayers, where the technical aspects of the prayers are completed. Now, let us quickly go into verse number 18, where he is going to talk about obstacles in following the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vyaptagraha vittajaneshu shakter दुष्प्रपन्नाय गुणसंग विवर्जिताय मुक्तात्मा स्वहृदये परिभाविताय ज्ञानात्मने भगवते नम ईश्वराय. If you look at these pictures, you will get to know what he is trying to say. He is saying, what are the obstacles in front of me? The obstacles in front of me are material attachments. We all feel that our friends will be there thick and thin, our WhatsApp groups and our friends will be there for a long period of time. But this is my first obstacle. I believe in my friends, but I don't believe the supreme friend who is Krishna. Then I think that my family members, my relatives, and everybody will help me. But Gajendra says, I have seen it right in front of my eyes. My friends, my relatives, nobody is going to help me. And we saw yesterday that how in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, in many places, from Dhruva to Draupadi, everywhere, we get the examples that friends, family members, brothers, sisters cannot help me. Another attachment is we believe let us put our life insurance and let us put a lot of money there and that will ensure our taking care. But like some devotees mentioned, it is insurance, not assurance. The assurance can be given only by Krishna. And then we believe our mental planning, our mental concoction, we can actually save ourselves. And we always think that we can somehow or the other escape from this material world. But our mental concoctions are also material attachments. Then we feel lot of servants if they are there around us. If somebody serves us as a master, these servants will help us. And Gajendra is saying none of these people can also affect us. Why? And he is saying all these are affected by the modes of material nature, but Krishna, you are not affected by the modes of material nature. And this is understood by whom? This is only understood by those who are Mukta Atma, who are liberated personalities. So only liberated personalities can constantly think of you because they are not attached to friends, relatives, money, mental concoctions, servants, assistants, etc. So he says, those who are free from material contamination always meditative. He is saying, I am not like that person. You are extremely difficult to attain for this, like me, who are too attached in mental concoction, home, relatives, friends, money, servants. So Gajendra is saying, I cannot because I have so many obstacles. This is his humility. But we should understand that in our current life, we also have this obstacle. Some may have one obstacle more than the other, but the reason he says is that we should come out of this obstacle. How? By constantly gunasanga vivarjitaya. He is actually not associated with any of these. By remembering the Lord does not fall under any of these categories of affection or material attachment. He is spiritual in nature. By just understanding this knowledge, we become capable to move to the next stage, and progressing on this stage, one can lead up to the stage of liberation, says Gajendra. So immediately when he says this is the obstacle, he immediately talks about verse 19 and 20 and 21. He says, while these are obstacles for me, I will tell you about some people who have achieved you. First, he talks about Sakama Bhaktas. What does Sakama Bhaktas means? Those devotees who have some desires. They are not coming to Krishna because I have no desire. They have some desire in their heart. What desires they have? They have desires of either Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. They have desires in religion, like Vishwamitra came and he said, I wanted to be known as Brahma Rishi. Economic development, some people want loads of money, so they come to Krishna. Some people want sense gratification, so they come. And some people come for moksha or liberation. So he is saying, Gajendra is saying, I have heard that many people come to you and ask for these benedictions. And you know what you do, Krishna? You actually give them. You actually give them more than what they desire. You not only give them this, but you give them more than what they desire. What to speak about? If they had these kama, these dharma, artha, kama, moksha as their intention, you still give them liberation. So, what to speak of those devotees who don't have a desire at all for akama, savakama, moksha kama udarati, tivrena bhakti yogena. Those who have only bhakti yoga, devotional service to perform, what to speak of them? So I don't need to even to speak about them. So if you give benediction, if you give liberation, even to people who have some desires, will you not give liberation to me, Narayana? Because I want to just get away from this crocodile. No. Gajendra says very beautifully in the last line. He says, please give me liberation from this present danger. Now we all are thinking, what is the present danger? The crocodile has caught his leg. But Gajendra says, I am not calling you for the crocodile. I am calling you because my danger is not the crocodile, it is the materialistic way of life. This is the greatness of Gajendra. Though there is danger catching his leg, he is not forgetting for what reason he is calling Narayana. He is calling Narayana to say that please come and protect me from the danger of this material world. This crocodile is just one such symptom of this material world. So he's saying the greatest example Srila Prabhupada says is Dhruva. When Dhruva wanted to just sit on the lap of his father Uttana, and he touched the conch on his head, he says that I got to know you are the actual Vaidurya, you are the gems. I was looking for shattered mirrors, but you are the gem. Swamin Asmin Varam Pradayatu. I don't have any other boon to ask you. At that time, what did the Lord give? First of foremost, at the age, he said, your desire will be fulfilled. Second, he gave him a spiritual body. Third, he gave him a spiritual kingdom. So even if you have a material desire, Krishna ensures he never disappoints. He never disappoints and he fulfills more than what is our desire. So shouldn't we all go to Krishna rather than going to somebody else? Because he fulfills our desire. But this is all Sakama Bhaktas. But in the next verse, he speaks about who are the Nishkama Bhaktas. So just see this 21 and 22, where he is speaking about what about those devotees who are actually not attached to any kind of interest. He says, unalloyed devotees just do three activities, and Srila Prabhupada is the best example. What do? They chant, they serve the Lord, and they are fully surrendered. Huh? So Srila Prabhupada, when he went to Boston, he was chanting, was fully surrendered to the instructions of his spiritual master, and he was completely absorbed and serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is called Nishkama. They do not have any material hankerings, even up to liberation, they do not have. So which platform does Gajendra fall into? Gajendra is asking for taking him away from the danger. So he is not following in the category of Nishkama Bhaktas. He is falling in the category of Sakama. He is having an intention for liberation. But again, that is not wrong, Srila Prabhupada says. If somebody is an unalloyed devotee, but due to some protection, he is asking for the Lord to protect, this is not considered to be regretful. Many people in ISKCON today that they say we should not even ask for liberation, but when they are in very much difficulty, they don't even go to Krishna and ask. Krishna feels very much painful. So we should go to Krishna and ask of what? Of if we are having painful. He is a Supreme Father. As a son, we can go and express. And Srila Prabhupada writes there is no regret in this. Even if unalloyed devotees, that is pure devotees. But the message here that Gajendra is saying, we should always hear, chant, serve, and so many lifetimes we have got this remembrance, but this is the golden age of 10,000 years, Prabhupada writes, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming and giving us a very nice window where we can chant, serve, and glorify the holy name. So in this way, the other section where he says the obstacle is that material, family, mental concoction, we cannot reach you. But those who are having benedictions, there also you give so many benedictions. But those who are unalloyed devotees, they don't ask for anything except from chanting, serving, and fully surrendering unto you. The final set of prayers, he is summarizing his prayers, and it is very easy. Only two verses he speaks about, and he says only two things as a summary. Finally, Lord, I am coming to the end of my prayer. These are the two verses that I will like to speak. And Gajendra says, I will first say what you are, and then I will say what you are not. So in the verse number 22 and 23, he says, Krishna, all the minor parts and parcels, that is the jivas, right from Brahma. Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. So from it, from Brahma, whoever they are, demigods, Vedic knowledge like Sam Veda, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda, all the characharas, that means all the living entities, whether they are moving, whether they are crawling, whether they are running on four legs, whether they are not living, non-living, whatever it is, whatever be their name, whatever characteristics this they have. If you look at botany and zoology, their whole life is spent on just analyzing these botanical and zoological species. Here Gajendra is saying all those are created by you. Then if you think it is only living entities, let me say, just like when a fire and the shining rays of the sun come from the sun planet, they merge into it again and again. The mind, the intelligence, the senses, the gross, the subtle material bodies, all these senses and body and mind, they continuously transform, and due to the modes of nature, they all come from you, and after pralaya, they all go back to the Mahat Tattva and they merge into you. So, and again, when the creation happens, everything is created again. So, this is being said. So, you are the one who creates everything in this world. So, Gajendra is saying, you know everything that is around me. You know this situation. But while I am telling all about this, let me tell you in verse number 24 what you are not. While you are this person, some people might feel that you are a very great demigod. You are not a demigod. Some people will say you are a great demon. You are neither a demon. You are not a human being. You are not, you come on the bird called Garuda, but you are not the bird. You are not a beast. You are not a woman. You are not a man. You are not a neuter, or neither you are an animal like me. You do not have any material quality, right? And you are the last discrimination of not this, not this. This materialists, they actually do this neti logic. Okay, what is there in this matter? Oh, this is not the Lord, this is not the Lord. They do the cancellation strike through logic. They go on using this logic to finally come to a conclusion who is Krishna. So finally they come and say you are not this, not this, so hence you are not this. And if you have to finally come to a conclusion, you are that conclusion. Hence, all glory is unto you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead. And hence, he finishes the summary description. Now we are at the last stage and we have 5 minutes. And in this 5 minutes, we will complete the Gajendra's prayer for shelter. And finally, what happened in the story, because we have kept the story also hanging. And the Lord is hearing all this, and all these prayers are being said in the mind while the Lord is telling Garuda, you please go right now. And Garuda is very slow. So the Lord jumps in front of him as his backpack and pulls Garuda. Garuda is pulling Sudarshana. Sudarshana is also coming behind. Mother Lakshmi is tittering, tattering on his Angavastra, and all of them are rushing towards the scene. And that is when he summarizes his final prayers of shelter. These prayers are wonderful prayers to even remember. And I know you are seeing slides, so you are worrying that these are a lot of slides. Do not worry. As I said, 5 minutes, 5 prayers. First, he says, my first prayer is, please liberate me from ignorance. जिजीवसे नहम इहमूय किम अंतर्बहिश्चा चावृत्तेभयोनिया इच्छामि कालेन नयस्य विप्लवस् तस्यात्मलोका वर्णस्य मोक्षाम. He says, enough. I don't want to live anymore. Enough of this struggle for existence. Why? Because no one in this life can be happy. Everyone will plan to become happy in this life, but I have come to know, even I thought in this lake when I enter, I will be happy, but I have concluded that nobody in this material world, they can plan, but they cannot be happy. No amount of plans can serve happiness or permanent settlement. Hence he says, I do not want to be living anymore. I am released, after I am released from the attack of crocodile, he is sure that Krishna will release him. Then he says, again, I will find another lake and I will go there and I will fall into trouble. So I don't want to do this. What is the use of this elephant's body? So please cover me from from this ignorance of this covering of this material body. That means he is saying, give me liberation. Then he says, what does he say? He says, release me from the material life. So in verse number 26, he says, Soham Vishwasrujam Vishwam Avishwam Vishwavedasam Vishwatmanam Ajam Brahma Pranato Asmi Param Padam. He says, many people ask, who is the creator of the universe? How did everything come from the cosmic manifestation? But nobody knows that you are the transcendental cause of all this. And you are the supreme knower of everything in this material world. You are the super soul of the entire universe, and yet you are unborn. So I pay my obeisances unto you. So you are the reason why the cosmic manifestation has come, but nobody knows this reason, and hence, please release me from this material life. So then he says, verse number 27, Yogarandita karmano hridi yoga vibhavite yogino yam prapashyanti yogesham tam nathosmyaham. He says, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the supreme, the super soul, the master of mystic yoga. This verse is called as the purification verse, where he is purifying himself. He is saying that many people do not know you are the cause of the cosmic manifestation. Why? Because they are scientists, atheists. They do not know. But if they have to know, they have to do bhakti yoga. And Bhakti yoga will not come by doing mental exercises like nowadays people do yoga. They don't have any kind of sense control. They don't have any kind of philosophy. They will not follow any kind of rules and regulations. And they say that they are doing yoga. So this is not in religious principles. This is of no use. But hence, I know that I cannot achieve you. Hence, please purify me by appearing in front of me. And finally, he's saying, I am an animal. And hence, with a bodily concept of life, with this elephant body, I can't do any yoga. So please, I can only pray to you. Please come in front of me. So the final two verses he says, and he concludes his prayer. In 28, he says, Namo namastubhyam asya havega shakti trayaya khila adigunaya prapannapalaya duranta shaktaye kad indriyanam anavapya vartamane. He says, greed, attachment, and lust. These are the major things of sense control that we have to do. But one who has to do this sense control, these are formidable forces. And hence, if we have to prevent these three crocodiles from attacking us, we have to concentrate upon your lotus feet. And he says, all these forces are acting on us because the Supreme Lord does not like to be realized by non devotees or atheists. And he says, when somebody surrenders unto the lotus feet, of me, remove this crocodile of attachment, greed, and lust. He's not talking about the he's talking about the crocodile which is catching his leg. He's talking about the crocodile of attachment, greed, and lust. And then he finally says, the Lord is the protector of the surrendered soul. And finally, nobody can become a devotee until and unless I surrender unto your lotus feet. And this is the changing. He sees the clouds are parting away, and slowly he sees the Sama Veda is actually being heard by Gajendra, because when Garuda flies and when he puts his wings in the air, Sama Veda yasya gayanti yatri Garudaha. So when he is actually fluttering his wings, the Sama Veda is being heard. There is a small mirage at the end. He's feeling that somebody is appearing in front of him, and he's saying, nobody can reach you until, until, until you give that final protection. And in the final prayer, he says this beautiful verse, and he concludes, he says, I remember, I remember, I remember you, oh my Lord. You are the only one who has to protect. At that point of time, he picks up a golden lotus in his trunk, and he sees the Lord appearing on the skies, and he keeps it on top of his head, and he says, Nayam Veda Swamatmanam Yachakyaham Diyahatam Tam Duratyaya Mahatmayam Bhagavantam Toiti Swaham Evam Gajendram Upavarnita Nirvishesham Brahmatyo Vividalinga Vividhamana Naite Yado Pasharpur Akhilatmakavat Tatra Akhilaramayo Harir Aveshat. So finally he says, you are the person whom I have to remember constantly. And because you are there as a remembrance, I am not envious of any personality. Don't think that I am envious of this crocodile. Why? Because all this is coming because of attachment, greed, lust, etc. So he says that this materialistic conception of life is very extremely difficult to surmount. But if I surrender unto you, the king, and I will attain the Brahman platform, that means he will get the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nasochati na Kanchati. Whether he is catching me, whether he is leaving me, I will have no problem. Samasarveshu bhutesmat bhaktim labate param. Hence, I will not be envious of this crocodile. So please ensure you give liberation to him also. Crocodile did not make a single prayer. If you look at this 30 verses, crocodile's prayers are how many? Zero. But who gets liberated first? Crocodile. Why does crocodile get liberated? 30 prayers were spoken by somebody else, but the first liberation was for crocodile, because crocodile gets the Sudarshana Chakra first. So by this time, when he makes this beautiful prayer, already the Supreme Lord has appeared in the skies, and he is taking this lotus and showing it to the Lord. The Lord jumps from the Garuda, and when he is looking for his discus, the discus is not there. Sudarshana is not there. Alvars speak a very wonderful verse where they say Sudarshana is actually slow, and he is catching up to the speed of Narayan, and he is coming there. The Lord came, stood, and posed, and there was no Sudarshan. And when he looked back, Sudarshan came. Before he could say to Sudarshan, go, Sudarshan understood what my master wants. He went and sliced open the head of the crocodile. But the Lord is very merciful to the crocodile. Here you can see he is even holding the crocodile, because he is impartial to all the living entities, and he loves all his entities. So he liberated the Hu Gandharva, and he gave the beautiful shelter to Gajendra, and Gajendra paid his obeisances. And in this photo, you can see how beautifully he offers his lotus flower. And Gajendra says, I wanted to offer you this. When he said that, immediately Narayana picks up the lotus flower and keeps it on his leg. He said, this is all you wanted? But show me your leg. Your leg is completely wounded. He takes the leg of Gajendra, keeps it on his lap, and the first thing he does is he takes his Angavastra, which had Lakshmi also dangling. So when he took his Angavastra, the first thing that came was Lakshmi's Pallu. So with that, he actually gave the warmth in his mouth and put it on top of Gajendra's feet. This is Gajendra Varada, the one who takes care of his devotees. And this is what the Lord did. And beautifully, he came flying by, and he got out of the chariot, and he used his discus to slice open the crocodile. The crocodile immediately got emancipation, and at the same time, the lotus was kept. And Gajendra said one more beautiful thing. And with that, we will end the session. And with 2 more minutes, we will end the session. Gajendra said, you all have witnessed the 1,000 years of tug of war. My only interest is now I want to see a tug of war. And Narayana was saying, which tug of war you want to see? What tug of war you want to see? He said, I want to see the tug of war of this lotus flower and your lotus feet. I want to see the tug of war between both of them and see who wins, because I am very sure only your lotus feet is more beautiful. And this pleased Narayana the most. Hence, with that, in the further chapter, Shukadeva Goswami says what is the previous life of Gajendra, which we already saw. And finally, when the Lord gets back on his carrier Garuda, and goes back to the spiritual world. He gives Sarupya Mukti to Gajendra and takes him along with him to the spiritual world. This is the beautiful set of prayers. These prayers cannot be um, very quickly realized and explained, but nevertheless, we all have Srimad Bhagavatam in front of us. We can read them again and again. And there is a great Falastuti which is being given by Sukadeva Goswami. What is the Falastuti? The Falastuti says that anyone who hears this narration will always get protection, will always be protected. Along with protection, he will develop more faith towards the Lord that he is the protector and we are to be protected. Along with that, he says, nobody will have bad dreams. Everybody should read this when they get up in the morning, and they should chant the name of Hari, 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 Hari like that 7 times. And they should read the Gajendra Moksha pastime, because it will not give us bad dreams. Now, somebody might ask, Prabhuji, what is a bad dream? Bad dream is some ghost is going to catch us, or we failed in the mathematics exam. The biggest bad dream is Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janare, Chatare Shayanam. The biggest bad dream is we die, we close our eyes, and when we open again, we are in the next birth. This is the biggest bad dream. So he says, Dushwapna Nashaya. This is also there as a Sahasranama Shloka. I think the 99, Utkirno, Dushwapna Nashaya. So this is the Sahasranama Shloka. His one name is Dushwapna Nashaya. He eliminates all the Dushwapnas, the bad dreams. And the biggest bad dream is repeated birth. And if we remember this Gajendra's prayers, we will be elevated from this entire bad dream of repeated birth and death. This is the narration what Sukadeva Goswami says, and these are the wonderful prayers. I once again thank everyone for giving me this opportunity. I know this session was a little rushed, and it requires a very detailed study, but nevertheless, whatever we could hear, it is glorious. Whatever we could study, it is glorious. But we all have Bhagavatam, so I will all urge you to read Srila Prabhupada's purports and read them again and take full advantage of this Amala Puran, which is called as Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Apologies for giving 5 more minutes than the 1 hour, but nevertheless, it is very nice. If there might be many mistakes, please correct those mistakes. You are all Vidwans. If there is anything that was good and worth taking it back, those all glories go to my spiritual master and the Parampara and Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. We are open to questions, comments, discussions, feedbacks, and many more.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanatranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Dandavat.
Krishna. Prabhu, this story is explained nicely for past. This is third day. Thing is that Prabhu, the Gajendra story is basically it is practical way how what message like Gajendra knows already everything, but we are not aware.
Yes.
As Prabhu is yesterday already raised this clarification.
Yeah.
Like how the practically connect with this.
So there are 4 things of practical connects that we can do. Thank you for asking this question. I thought we are almost on time, so I didn't explain. 4 things. First thing is he starts his prayer by saying Om, means A, U, and Ma. That means he is the protector. Come what may, Krishna will always protect, and we need protection. This is the first lesson that we should learn practically from Gajendra's entire pastime, that the supreme protector in all conditions of life, there is nobody else who can protect. No family member can protect, no friends can protect, no wife can protect, nobody can protect except only one person, Supreme Lord. This is the first learning. Second learning is Swaya Raksha. If we think that we can protect ourselves, like Gajendra is establishing, we cannot protect. So this is the second learning that he says, that we cannot protect ourselves. Third learning is all these prayers that is being said to is we have to surrender unto Krishna. Like how Gajendra said, I am not able to do this myself, nobody can protect me. So hence, for protection, I need to do surrender. I need to offer my prayers. And there he says, transcendentalists do three things: chant, serve, and full surrender. These three things have to be performed. This is the third practical learning for us, that we should understand nobody can protect us, and this we should do. And finally, he says at the end that the bhakti yoga, the chanting, and at the same point of time offering prayers and understanding that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead by all the characteristics causes, we should actually imbibe those tenets. We should imbibe those prayers so that next time we stand before Krishna, we should at least remember 5, 6 names: Adbhuta Karanaya, Bhuri Karanaya. We should at least remember 5, 6 names, and we should strung our prayers to make it personalized. And we feel Krishna is not only standing there, okay, he has that, but he is such a big personality. And this is not an exaggeration, this is a fact. So when we actually say and understand these 4 tenets of principle tenets, and the last one we should understand is this can be also seen as a metaphor where the Jivatma is Gajendra, the lake is the Samsara Sagara, the crocodile are the Anarthas, the lotus is the Mahamantra, and finally, Krishna himself appears for his devotees when we offer Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. So these are some of the 5 practical learnings that we can take from Gajendra's prayer. Of course, there are many, but principally this exemplifies these 5.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Nicely explained.
Thank you. Any other question, clarification, comments?
Prabhu, if this cause of all causes, no, this is further fully explained that Prabhu. This is actually that same cause of all causes, no. It is like if you start that end, it will not land up with one. But
Yeah.
elaborate.
So he actually says this in many verses. He says 2 things repeatedly. Gajendra says, you are sitting in my heart, right? And he says you are the cause of all causes. So he uses this cause of all causes in many ways. First time he says, since you are the cause, you might have created this situation in which I have got into, so you know about it. Second, he says you are the creator of everything, so you have created me also, so you know everything, so you are the cause of the cause. Third, he says you are the cause who is behind the transcendentalists. You are the cause of liberation. You give liberation out of your own merciful cause. So you are again the cause of causes of everything. So this one concept, he uses it in many ways in many verses. So we should go back to those verses and underline the cause of causes. Suddenly we hear only one thing: Krishna has created everything. He does not have a creator, so he is cause of causes. This is one way of understanding. But Gajendra is beautifully putting that one lotus petal, like yesterday when Ravipati Prabhu asked, how can we practically do one lotus petal of cause of all causes? He is utilizing it and sieving it into many prayers. And that is the unique way of sieving, personalizing the prayer towards Krishna. So this is some of the meanings of those cause of all causes. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Dhanapranam.
Yes, Rajeshwar Prabhu, Dandar Pranam.
My small experience for this Gajendra Moksha philosophy.
Yeah.
I read Srimad Bhagavatham Gajendra actually 1 year ago, almost 2 years ago. Then Dushapna, you say Pranat Janam. I know that one, but I don't know that one. But Dushapna means before I dream, like sleeping time, then coming is somebody attack, somebody suddenly wake up, fear that's coming. After I read the Gajendra Moksha, then until no fear, nothing. It will
Jai.
come, but never like fear like that.
Wonderful, wonderful.
This is my experience, Prabhu. Gajendra Moksha Pada.
Jai, jai, jai. So thank you very much, Prabhu. You are credential, testimonial, proof, and very nice. We should have faith in the Shastras. This is very nice. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for sharing your personal realization.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Wonderful class, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, can you just focus one more time, if possible, that because of Gajendra's pastime, he could remember. So that was what one of the takeaways, that because in his pastimes, means he was the king and he used to do devotional service. So like we say in Bhagavad Gita, that whatever devotional service we do in this lifetime, in the next lifetime, it will help. So that reconfirms the faith that even if you didn't, you can explain more anything, Prabhuji, in that aspect.
Yeah, first and foremost, he practiced. It was not due to his practice that he remembered. That is not true. He himself says he remembers the previous mantra because Krishna made him remember. And we know that. Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna gives the remembrance, Krishna gives the forgetfulness. When a soul feels that I have to forget the so many difficulties I have gone through, Krishna conveniently makes the soul forget at the time of death. So in this also he says, you are the one who comes again and again and again and tells us that please go towards liberation, please go towards liberation. And you are the one who, while saying this, never gets lazy, never gets inattentive, and is always acting for our welfare. And hence you are Bhuri Karanaya, you are very, very merciful. So this is another learning that we learn, that even though we falter in our devotional service and don't achieve the final goal, where Arjuna says Param Gatim, what is the final destination? Krishna says, don't worry, even if he doesn't achieve, he will first go to the higher planetary systems, enjoy everything, come back in a very good family, and I will give him the remembrance to continue his spiritual life.
Haribol.
This is Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna, again, this exemplifies one of the other prayer that Gajendra says, that like Dhruva, he came with a desire, but you give something more than what he desired. So Krishna, so he not only gave us the remembrance, he gives us good birth, he ensures we enjoy, so many things he does so that we can come back to him. So this is his merciful nature, Bhuri Karanaya.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhuji, just one more, I don't know, we can see this Jagannath Rath Yatra, we generally, we tell that we pull the rope. So we say that by pulling the rope at the deathbed, so water, generally we remember, so Jagannath comes into the memory. This is what I heard. And, we can leave the body. And but generally people say you do not go to Golok Dham, but you go to higher planets and then come back again, but you don't take a birth. So means is it true in that sense? If we
see, the remembrance is the most important, because this is also there in the Varaha Charma Shloka. The Varaha Charma Shloka says very beautifully. In fact, the 3 Charma Shlokas, we should discuss about it sometime. The Rama Charma Shloka, the Krishna Charma Shloka, which he says Sarvadharman Parityajya, and Varaha Charma Shloka. In fact, Varaha gives the most beautiful Charma Shloka. What does it say? Rama says, if you surrender unto me, I will give you protection. But he puts so many conditions. If he says, if you surrender unto me in good sense, good belief and all of that, if you fully depend upon me. So then many people say, what kind of surrender is that? You have to put so many conditions in this. Krishna says, Mam ekam sharanam, you have to only surrender unto me. And you have to live many other things. So then many people say, how it is possible? So he has also put many conditions. So Varaha says, I will give you a very easy respite. And this is not to compare, but this is just to say how the Lord is merciful in various different incarnations. So Varaha says that even if you come to me once, when you are fit and fine, whenever you are fit and fine in your lifetime, even when you are 2-year-old or 3-year-old or 4-year-old, or in your lifetime, whenever you come and pay obeisances unto me and look at my deities and look unto me, then Pashtakashana Sannibhya, when you are actually lying in the deathbed like a stone and you do not have any remembrance, then it is not your responsibility to remember me. I will come and make you remember that you have to remember me. It is my responsibility. So just like that, Jagannath is saying, when you pull the rope, right, at the deathbed, he will give you remembrance. If that remembrance is of Krishna stealing butter, you will go to Golok Dham, Prabhu.
Hari. Yeah.
That is how it is. And all these pastimes we learn to get that remembrance. So the remembrance is guaranteed. So if that remembrance is Krishna, we go back home, back to God.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful class. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Really enlightening. We should hear more.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Haribol Prabhu.
Yes, Haribol.
I am also witnessing the Gajendra procession.
You are in Mayapur. Gajendra picking up Radha Madhav. Very nice.
Okay, it's very crowded here. I'm not able to show any this thing. About this remembrance, I just want to add in a very short format. I'll share something which I heard some time back. That there was a Prabhupada disciple, and he, as long as Prabhupada was on the planet, he followed everything perfectly. But after Prabhupada left, he sort of strayed away from the path. And then this pastime was narrated by, I forgot the name of this sannyasi. Okay. The sannyasi who is based in US, he tried to locate this Prabhu because he was one of their god brothers. And they tried for quite a while. And then they found that Prabhu, the god brother of theirs, the Prabhupada disciple, he was in a mental hospital. And then they got hold of the address of that mental hospital, and they went there, and they told the nurse that yes, we want to see that person who's there in that such and such bed. And then the nurse asked, are you his family, or are you his relation, or are you his friend? They said, no, we are Hare Krishnas. The moment the word Hare Krishna was uttered, when the nurse's eyes sort of popped out, when she was surprised. And then she said something, oh, very nice, you please come. They asked, why have you reacted like this? And then she said that this gentleman, he is lost. He doesn't even know his name. He doesn't even know where he's coming from. He doesn't know remember his family members. I mean, if he doesn't remember his name, you can understand what is the kind of state he is in. But evening, all that he does is he encourages the residents to chant Hare Krishna. Be able to understand what this Hare Krishna is all about. So the person who was giving this narration, and the Maharaj also was saying, to look how merciful has Krishna been, that he has removed everything, he has wiped his slate clean, but just retained that Hare Krishna, that remembrance. So you can understand what is his final destination. His slate is wiped clear. All he remembers is Hare Krishna.
Sure. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Haribol.
Haribol, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Sorry, there was a lot of background voice, but then you still shared us a very nice, wonderful snippet of how that happens. Thank you very much. Yeah. Satyesha Prabhu, back to you. I think there are no more questions.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
That's wonderful done. And it was very nice to hear from you, really.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sarvapalika Mataji.
Sarvadharman Parityajya from Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Second one is from Lord Ram. Sakradeva Prapannaya Tavasmiti Yachate Abhayam Sarvabhutebhyo Dadami Etat Vratam Mama. So this is my vow. Lord Rama says, whoever seeks shelter, once they say, Rama, I am yours. Once they say that, and Rama takes the charge, that he give protection for that particular Jivatma. Abhayam sarva bhutebhyo. You need not say only my bhakta or devotee, karmi, nothing. Any living entity. Sarva bhutebhyo. That is the second. And the devotee should not have this doubt. If I don't remember, if I go to coma, fine. For that, this particular verse, Site manasi suswaste sharire satiyo naraha Dhatu samye stite smarta vishwarupam cha mamajam atastam mriyamanam tu kashta pashana sannivam aham smarami madbhaktam. See, aham smarami, I will remember madbhaktam. For that, my devotee, nayami paramam gati. Prabhu, are you able to read the translation?
Yeah, Lord Varaha addresses Mother Earth or Bhudevi. In fact, he addresses this because this is the only personal time he gets with Mother Bhudevi. All the other times he is actually walking on him, spitting her out. So Lord Varaha addresses Mother Earth or Bhudevi, who expresses concern for the well-being of all her children. We learned that she is the mother. If anyone thinks of me when the mind is sound, sthite manasi, with the body in good health, suswaste sharire, and with all mental and physical faculties working perfectly and intact, dhatu samye sthite, thinks that I am indeed the very cause of this universe or form of this universe, Vishwarupam, that I am without birth, Ajam, then I assure you, Devi, that I will remember this devotee of mine when he or she is on his deathbed lying helplessly like a stone or a log of wood, and personally take him or her to the supreme abode. So we learnt all of this in Gajendra's prayers, that he is a Ajam, he is the Vishwarupam, cause of all causes. So please remember Varahadev also. He will take us and he will give us the remembrance. Thank you, Prabhu, for
Wonderful. Hari Bol.
No, the reason is the bhakti starts from Shraddha.
Yeah.
And we should not have this doubt that whether if I don't remember, whether Lord will not remember, then where is the Shraddha starts? Then we have not even started the Shraddha yet.
Yeah.
So Shraddha we may not have like Prahlad Maharaj or Dhruv Maharaj, but at least a tinge of it we must have.
Yeah.
No, Lord will protect me.
Yeah.
You see, that is the reason none of our forefathers had this insurance plan.
Correct.
All they maybe there may be millionaires or a beggar, never, none of them, because they believed on my death only God can protect.
Correct.
Because this godless society is developing so much, or the greediness or helplessness or anything. So all these unwanted things are flourishing so much. So one would take complete shelter of the Lord, need not bother about anything. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. I'll just add one last thing very beautifully. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing this. One last snippet that I had. When these slokas were presented in Ramanujacharya was giving this explanation, and all his disciples were sitting. And there was a disciple called Embar who was sitting right at the back. And when he was saying that how Vibhishana got the Sharanagati, like he said, Abhayam Sarva Bhutebhyo, he said, anybody comes, I will actually give him. Embar started getting up and started leaving the session. Ramanujacharya said, hey, why are you leaving? Such a great, merciful Lord is giving Sharanagati and you are saying you are leaving the class. Why are you leaving the class so early? Embar said, what is the use? What kind of Sharanagati is this? And Ramanujacharya was taken back. He said, why? What happened? He said, first, how did Rama give the Sharanagati? First, he made them stand outside the gate. He was standing in the Akasha. He was standing in the sky. And after standing in the sky, he first put an entrance test. He asked Hanuman, Jambavan, Nala, Neela, what is your opinion? And they all gave their opinions. After giving all their opinion, he asked Hanuman again and he gave an opinion. On top of that, he gave an opinion. And afterwards, he gave Sharnagati. He says, what kind of Lord he is when I have to go put an entrance test and then give all this. So Ramanujacharya understood the real meaning of his question. So then Ramanujacharya said beautifully, okay, fine, for Vibhishana he gave like this. But do you know, with Vibhishana, 4 more ministers came along with them. They also got Sharnagati. How did they get? So he said, they all got Sharnagati because they were following Vibhishana. So Embar said, similarly, if I go to the Lord, I will not get Ramanujacharya. You pay the dividend to me. You show the mercy to me. Then only I will get Sharnagati in Rama's lotus feet. So similarly, crocodile is also catching Gajendra's leg, and hence he gets the first Sharnagati.
But that was the Sapa Vimokshana also for when he disturbed Devala, he asked forgiveness. And Devala said, caught hold of that devotee, because of that devotee's mercy, you will get liberation.
Correct.
You know, the Sapa Vimokshana. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very nice.
Okay.
Prasad Prabhu, Purushottam Prasad Prabhu. Haribol. So we will all pray to Krishna for the advancement of His grace. Haridas Varya Prabhu for journeying us into this nice slokas of Bhagavatam, StavaMala, that to Gajendra Moksha, very important one. So we will just pray for his advancement in Krishna consciousness. So everybody please open and chant one time of Hare Krishna Mahamantra loudly.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Especially want to inform to Tukaram Prabhu. Tukaram Prabhu, you know, always says, I have not taken initiation or anything. But once we say, he himself, Tukaram, their parents gave, no, he was my colleague like 14, 15 years ago. So this name, Tukaram, attracted, you know.
Yeah.
So because of that, Prabhu, Tukaram Ji's name brought him to devotional service.
Wonderful. Tukamane vithe mukhe manja. So it's very nice. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
So Prabhu, Varahadev giving guarantee, so do not worry. Hare Krishna.
Sure.
So we will all pray Vaishnava Pranam. We'll all say Vancha Kalpatarubhesha
Pavane Vaishnavyo Nama Nama.
Anantakoti Vaishnava
Vrinda ki jai. Prabhupada.
Next week at 6 o'clock on Friday, we will have Satyavarta Muni's pray. Who is Satyavarta Muni and his life and teachings by Parikshit Prabhu from Abu Dhabi. So it will be very nice class. Please join us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.